All right, guys, I was trying to wait for the wind to die down out here, but you might just have to bear with it. I was changing this front seal, crankshaft seal, on my 6.0. It's a 03 6.0, and you know, I had a leak, so I needed to change it. Now, this one did not have the wear ring already installed, which means no one's done this yet. So this is the first time, or probably means that. But anyways, this is my first time doing it. So I looked on YouTube and online everywhere trying to figure out, you know, can I take the seal out without taking this piece off? And the answer is no. So you need to take this piece off to get the seal itself out, and you're going to need to do that anyways. I didn't really understand it until I got in there and did it. You're going to need to take this piece off, so take these 5 bolts all around it off and pull this off. It does have tabs that you can pry on that make it a little easier to get it off. You can replace that seal while you're in there if you want, or just, you know, mine looked good, so I just kept it in. And then there's a million videos on how to install the wear ring, but no one really tells you well enough how you need to do it without the tool. I didn't get the tool. It's you know, it's a single-use tool. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not gonna hopefully be doing this again. And I live in a small town, so it's kind of difficult to get things. You know, Amazon, there ain't no 2-day delivery. So and I need this truck back up and running. So I did put the wear ring on. You can see it right there, just barely peeking out. It does have to go on pretty far. That's another thing I couldn't find anyone say. I did use Loctite. I may not have used the right kind of Loctite, but I used blue Loctite. I think you're supposed to use green, but you know, it is what it is. Now, I did crush one wear ring and I had to redo it. Basically, I put it on, and I say this because this is something you should know. When I put it on, you know, I use the method of pressing it on by using the harmonic balancer and the 4 bolts to press this thing on, but I didn't get it far enough onto the, sorry about the wind, I didn't get it far enough onto the crankshaft before I started trying to press it on. So if you're going to do this, what you have to do is put it on there, and obviously I put, you know, the Loctite on there. And this is another thing it was hard to find. There's a bevel on this side, on the inside, and then there's a bevel on this side on the outside. The bevel on the outside on this is to make it easier to put the seal on once you've already got this on the crankshaft. The bevel on the inside right here is to make it easier to put it on the crankshaft. So the bevel on the inside is the side that it goes in towards the engine. So make sure you put the bevel on the inside towards the engine, and then the bevel that's on the outside needs to go towards the front of the vehicle. But yeah, so when you're putting this on, you really have to get it pretty far on before you press it on with the crankshaft, or with the harmonic balancer. So what I did is I put it on there, and then I just tapped the crap out of it for, I don't know, it took me like 30 minutes, but you got to get it done. So I just tapped the crap out of it with a rubber mallet. You could probably use a dead blow hammer or something, but just be really careful that you don't bend this, because that'll make it really hard to get on. So obviously I got a new one and put it in, and I tapped it until it was, you know, maybe like right there. That's the only part that was sticking out, just barely, not on the shaft itself. And then I used the harmonic balancer. I put that on and just tighten the bolts, you know, in a star pattern until they won't tighten anymore. You know, don't crank it down too hard, but do that until they won't tighten anymore, and basically it's bottomed out, and then it's seated where it needs to be. And like I said, it'll go past the front of the shaft there, because the seal sits, you know, a little bit onto the shaft. And all this is basically to prevent that leak that all, you know, 6.0s end up developing on the front seal. They've got this ring to seal up the shaft a little bit and keep you from having a bad leak like that again. So that worked really well. And then I put the I don't know what it's called, I'm a backyard mechanic, shade tree, whatever you want to call it. I put this this plate back on, this cover back on, and then getting the seal on is a little difficult. Normally people will take a piece of wood and pop a seal in, but the issue is you have this shaft here in your way, so you can't just hit it flush with a piece of wood. So in order to get that seal on, what I found is this, right? Just a top from a spray paint cap, and obviously I broke this one. I actually broke 2 of them getting it on, but screw it, I got a bunch of old cans of spray paint, who cares? So take this and put it over it, and it'll go perfectly around that, and it'll be just enough to get it pushed on evenly to where you can tap it in the rest of the way with a small mallet. Just lightly, just tap it all the way around. But this was what I needed to get it just going on evenly, and then tapped it all the way around until it was flush with that mallet. And I really hope that helped someone. Once again, sorry for the wind. And yes, I know I'm not a professional. I'm a shade tree mechanic. This is my own truck, and I do what I got to do to get it back up and running. So I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of professionals on here going, you should have used green Loctite or whatever Loctite you're supposed to, and you should have gotten the tool. Yeah, in a perfect world that works, but this is an 03, you know, in my backyard. I'm not going to spend the money to have someone do this. It's not that hard. It's just a little annoying. So yeah, try that if you're stuck, or, you know, I hope this helps someone out. There just wasn't a whole lot of information online, so hope that helps.